And welcome back, everyone. And I have, of course, my good friend Jay on the phone with me. How you doing today, Jay?
Steve, I'm doing great. It's good to be with you again.
I appreciate that. Now, Jay, before we get started, I just have a quick announcement. Folks, thank you so much for answering the question of the day. And I'm going to ask Jay for his opinion on this. How do you feel about the economy and your job? Do you feel your job secure? And what's your thoughts on how the economy is going? If you're going to enter the contest, answer the question and want to answer that question, please text that first. And then when you're finished answering the question of the day, then put on the end of it the keyword for those free Earth, Wind, and Fire tickets is SING, S-I-N-G. So, Jay, lots to talk about. I got several folks that had texted in and asked if you had any update for the homeschool parents on the proposed rule changes.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is something we talked about. For folks who didn't hear when we discussed this previously, the short take is there's been a new rule filed that would change the rules for education freedom in Arkansas, and it would limit the ability of parents to use their education freedom dollars on sports. So we shared with you a couple of weeks ago that rule had been filed, and it's now in the public comment phase. So there were some public hearings held earlier this week, and we have about 12 days left for public comment. And so we've heard from dozens of parents who are concerned about this. Public comment closes on December the 16th. We would encourage anybody who shares these concerns to make your voice heard. I mean, that's the purpose of public comment. This is concerning because it's the latest in some of the efforts we've seen to try and roll back education freedom. And as I know that you know, Steve, and we've talked about before, freedom has to be defended at every turn, and that's true of education freedom as well.
100%.
So if anybody wants to learn more about that, after the public comment period closes, that'll go back to the State Board of Education. We're optimistic that they'll amend these rules to make it more parent-friendly. But for listeners that want to learn more, who want to submit a public comment, go to Opportunity Arkansas. You can check out our social media pages. We've posted some information about this on our Facebook, X, Instagram accounts. Go to Opportunity Arkansas, and you can learn more there, and we'd encourage people to speak up.
Absolutely, folks. This is something that President Trump has touted at the federal level. This was a signature piece of now Governor Huckabee Sanders, of course, campaign promise that she fulfilled upon getting elected with the legislature, and we can't allow it to be weakened. And as Jay has previously shared with us all, enormous growth over the last 2 years of the amount of people that are participating in this.
Absolutely. Like you said, we've got close to 50,000 students across the state of Arkansas that are using education freedom. They're exercising education freedom today. It's just an astounding response that we've seen from the public, because for the first time, we're putting parents back in charge. And this is not just about allowing them to pick a particular school. Yes, you can do that. You can choose a public school, a different public school, a private school, religious school. You can choose to homeschool. But education freedom at its core is about letting the parents decide, and they shouldn't be locked into a particular set of options. Parents should have wide freedom to choose what's best for their kids. And that includes allowing them to do things that are traditionally part of an education. And as we know, sports and athletics are a part of almost every public school for a reason. It's important for kids to learn teamwork, responsibility, helps improve academic outcomes. And so to prevent education freedom families from participating in that is just really a step backwards, and it's contrary to the spirit of education freedom. So we're optimistic we'll see some movement here and some changes, but anybody else who's concerned, like I said, we'd encourage you to make your voice heard on this as well.
Yes, and we stand by that, both of us. And like I said, you can visit opportunityarkansas.org and see all the information up there on this. Now, next, under the stewardship of the governor and the legislature, they have held the line on some of the spending, and they've cut taxes. But once again, we're headed to a rather large budget surplus. We're about, 5.5 months now into the state's fiscal year, which is July 1st through June 30th. And where is the surplus at now, Jay?
That's right, Steve. We're about halfway into the fiscal year, and right now the state's on track for a surplus of nearly $300 million. This is something that we track monthly. And what a surplus is at its core, it means the state is collecting more tax dollars than it needs. That's $300 million above what was budgeted, what was expected. And so to us, this represents a trend. I mean, because we've monitored this. This is not just a one-time fluke. We've had consistent revenue increases, increased tax collections for years now. And to us, that means when the government is collecting more money than it needs, it's time to give some of that money back to taxpayers. It's time to give money back to the people who earned it.
Yes.
And like you said, we've had some tax cuts, but unfortunately, it seems the momentum on that has slowed. With these record surpluses that we're seeing consistently, I think there's a lot more discussion now about, hey, maybe it's time to cut income taxes again. And the plan that we've put out there is that we should make this automatic. So when state revenue grows so substantially, a portion of that should automatically go back to the people who earned it. We call that pay as we grow. So when state revenue grows, your paycheck should grow too. When the state does well, that money should go back into the economy and back to the hardworking taxpayers. And this latest number just shows that to answer your question from when I joined earlier, the state of Arkansas's economy is strong. I mean, we're seeing consistent growth in revenue collections. There's plenty of money to fund the essential services of state government. And every time government collects more money, there are a couple of things they can do with it. They can spend it, or they can send it back to taxpayers. And so we think it's time to send it back to taxpayers. The citizens of Arkansas agree. We've polled this. Majorities across the state agree that it's time to get rid of the state income tax. And so we're optimistic we'll see some action on this in the near future. But the latest report just demonstrates that there's absolutely enough money to do this, and it's time to deliver some tax relief to Arkansans.
Yes, and I'm getting so many text messages on this. People were saying, yeah, they could do it something to freeze or cut property taxes. I definitely think once you're retired, some people want to retire earlier and some don't. I can't answer that question right now myself. I feel pretty good after all the surgeries. My little sister calls me her bionic brother. But, I have no desire to want to retire anytime soon. But once somebody's retired on fixed income, I think the property taxes should be frozen forever for the rest of their lives or until they sell the house. And that's something to consider, too, because there's a lot of people that are scared that if the income taxes are completely done away with, that will end up like Texas with extraordinarily high property taxes. Several of them have texted in that, like Texas.
Well, I'm glad you brought that up, Steve, and I'll just jump in there to say that, that's something we looked at as well. We have one of the lowest property tax rates in the country.
We do.
Arkansas does. And those property taxes flow to local governments. So, we talk a lot about these elections that always come up to raise local property taxes. That's at the local level. The state level is where the income tax revenue goes. And income tax primarily affects young working families, which is what everybody is talking about we need more of. And by reducing the income tax, it makes us more competitive with these states like Texas and Tennessee. And when we have excess revenue there, it seems like a no-brainer. The revenue is exceeding what you budgeted for. And so when we're surrounded by states that don't have one or are starting to cut theirs and eliminate theirs, we really can't risk falling behind because it puts us at a disadvantage economically. And eliminating the income tax helps attract more of those young folks who are looking for somewhere to grow and build a business, and brings more jobs and investment. And all that money goes back into the economy when we give it to taxpayers.
The velocity
People who
of
earn
money.
the money and pay the taxes know how to spend their money better than the government at the end of the day.
Now, before I let you go, because I know we're almost out of time, and for those in the audience that are just joining us, you know my good buddy here in Little Rock, the illustrious mayor of Little Rock, as we affectionately call him, Mayor Mayhem, Frank Scott Jr. Last night they unveiled their plan. He spent $750,000 taxpayer dollars hiring a Boston-based engineering firm to design the I-30 crossing park, which is approximately 18 acres surrounding the Clinton Presidential Center, the River Park, and everything underneath the new freeway. And the cost of that park is estimated at $100 million. There's no way to pay for it. And on top of that, he spent $2.5 million of taxpayer money, both federal $2 million and Little Rock taxpayers' money in August, ironically, when I was on vacation. Now, after I found out about it, I got so many text messages, it crashed our computer system up here on spending $200 million to build a deck park over I-30 so you can breathe in diesel particulates while you eat your hamburger between 6th and 9th Street. And that's been put on hold. But here you got a guy that wants to spend $300 million, has already wasted $3,250,000 when firefighters are living in fire stations with mold and inoperable washers. So they come back from a fire and they can't even wash their uniforms and get cleaned up. All right. So wasting money. Well, Jay, I know you can't.
I was just going to say, I wish that was surprising, Steve, but we see that happen at the state level more times than you can imagine. And so that's why we should reject these claims that there's not enough money. There's plenty of money to do the essential services, cut out the wasteful spending, and cut taxes, because that's what Arkansas citizens want.
Absolutely. Well, Jay, like I said, I knew you only could stay for one segment. I held you over a little extra. I appreciate that, but we're a little bit late on the traffic break, too.
Thank you, Steve. Appreciate it.
God bless you, my friend.